Welcome to Nara's Method podcast. This is one-stop shop to your mental health journey. Tune in if you're trying to be your best self and live balanced life. I am Nara, and today we'll be talking about conscious parenting with Luz Maria Surco, CEO and founder of Positive Living. Welcome, Luz. Tell us more about you and what do you do and why did you start Positive Living?
So it was a long journey, Nara. It was a long journey because I became a mother when I was 25, absolutely clueless of what to do with children, right? And I come from a background in human resources. I love to deal with people. I'm a very sociable person, not to mention that I'm Latina, I'm from Peru. And when I became a mother, all the challenges start to appear in me. I was insecure, I was afraid, I wanted to be the perfect mother. I put a lot of pressure on my eldest son, Mohammed, who is now 18. And I could see that something was wrong. Something that I was doing, it was not, something was wrong, something was missing. Even in my relationship, I started to go down because my relationship with my husband started to become with more conflict. We disagree in so many cultural, guidelines because I'm from Peru, he's from Lebanon, so it was so many differences. And I guess my first son brought all that up because we had to now agree into something, right? So all these different aspects started to poke the question, what am I doing wrong? So this is when I went back to psychology. Yes, I knew, and I'm so glad that I went into that field because I learned so much about myself. So I started to have in therapy. I had therapy for me because I wasn't feeling happy. I was not feeling calm and zen. So when I start to go to therapy, it clicked on me. I decided, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So I went back to university and I studied psychology. I have a bachelor degree in psychology. And above that, I went to study with my mentor, Marisa Peer, in clinical hypnotherapy. So I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And then many other courses came again, more and more, because I was so hungry to learn. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. So I took NLP course, I'm a master in NLP, I'm a certified conscious parenting coach, and that because of my son, because I wanted to stop being this dysregulated mother who was trying to do everything, out of pressure, and I wanted to be this connected, loving, supporting mother. So that's why I went to the Institute of Dr. Shefali, this clinical psychologist, and I certified myself as a conscious parenting coach. And last but not least, my very favorite mentor, Dr. Gabor Mate, who has an approach to psychotherapy called compassionate inquiry. And it's, as the name says, compassionate inquiry. Why inquiry? Because every time I was dysregulated, he taught me that I need to be compassionate towards myself and inquiry. Why is it that I act like this? Why is it that this person triggered me? Why is it that when I'm in this situation, I react like this? So then I started to, question myself and finding the answers within me. So I love the approach, and again, I became a certified compassionate inquiry. So this is all I do, and I form Positive Living. So that's why I am now the CEO and founder of Positive Living UAE, which is a holistic center that helps many women like me who are lost maybe in the parenting, they're overwhelmed, or they're having relationship issues. So all these different aspects, I formed this company to be able to support women like me.
Do you mainly work with women?
No, I also work with men, so my practice is also extended to men. I also work with fathers or men in general, bachelors who want to know more about themselves. They are suffering maybe from anxiety, panic attacks, depression, or even suicidal thoughts. So I work also with men.
Conscious parenting, that's very intriguing for me. What is it all about?
So conscious parenting is a beautiful philosophy that takes the focus, the lens of parenting, not in the child, not in seeing the child and what he or she is doing and how they should do, but instead it changes to us, to the parents. So it's learning about our reaction towards the experience of parenting. So in a very profound ways. So what do I do when my child is around? Why do I panic? Why do I get triggered when they are they are sad, or why I don't like when they cry, what they nag, you know. So everything is about us, not the child. Because the child, and I learned this in psychology as well, the brain of the child, the reptilian brain, the very old brain in all of us, it's such a divine brain. It's so pure. It comes with beautiful gifts, skills. One of them is abundance, because a child brain, it doesn't have lack and scarcity. It's full of abundance. The second is truthfulness. A child doesn't lie. The child learns to lie. Yes, the child comes into this world being truthful.
Yeah.
The other quality of the child is transparency. They show you what they feel. They show you. And at times, if that feeling overwhelms you, then there is something you need to do about it, because the child in a tantrum is showing you that they are sad, that they are disappointed, that they are angry. And if that overwhelms you, then you have to examine what is it inside of you that is overwhelming you, because the child is doing what it's meant to do and is being transparent with the emotion. So that's another quality. The other quality of the child is courageousness. They are fearless. Isn't it? All of us, yes, we were born fearless. And yet when we grow as adults, we have many fears. Fears of judgment. We are very conscious about the judgments or critics of others. Fears of abandonment, if you have been raised in a dysfunctional family, that there was not much care and love, and so that's why you are very codependent of somebody. And if that somebody is not there, you will have that fear of abandonment, fear of failure. Yes, so all these things these are learned behaviors. The child, no, the child is really courageous, fearless. And I can prove it to you, because if you see a child of 8-9 months when they are crawling, what do? They are exploring the world, they are licking everything, they are putting their little hands everywhere, touching, exploring. I mean, you could literally put a snake or a cobra and they will touch it fearlessly. Or if you put fire, they'll put their hands on the fire, because they are fearless. When we are children, we are fearless. So that's another innate quality of the reptilian brain, the child brain. And last but not least is the authenticity. We are all born knowing who we are, but it's just a matter of time that, given the circumstances that we have a functional childhood, our authenticity will unfold. What we are, what our uniqueness are. Unfortunately, this quality at times is adapted by the environment, by the social, cultural, at times religious conditioning that we have. The authenticity of the child will start to adapt, and they will become what the parents want them to be, if the parents are too rigid. So these all qualities are already in the child. So now you tell me, who is learning from who? We are learning from children as much as children are learning from us the capacity to survive in this world. So conscious parenting is taking that lens from shaping and forming a child. No, look at you, and let's see parenting in an equal team, learning from each other rather than from the linear perspective, the traditional way of parenting, where parents are here and children are here. So children are to be told what to do by parents. No, it's like this. Both we are learning from each other.
We always tend to think, or that's how traditional upbringing of kids tells us, we need to tell them how to behave, we need to tell them how to do stuff without changing anything in ourselves. Yeah. It doesn't matter if I do this, I'm an adult. You don't do this. I can do this because I'm an adult. And this always this power position that we talk to them about. Yeah. It's always like, oh no, I can do it, but you cannot do it. And it's always flipped. And every time, even child has any issues, I've never seen parents saying, oh, I need to go to psychologist because my kid is misbehaving. We always say, oh, my kid needs to see somebody because he's misbehaving. Yeah. So I find it very strange that we need to, it's unusual, right? That we need to look at ourselves. We need to go to psychologists ourselves. Yeah. That we need to first fix ourselves before we even have kids.
Yeah. I mean, the whole description of what you share, it's difficult to accept. And I would say it's easy to say, he has the problem or she has the problem. I don't. But that's why conscious. What is conscious? What's the word conscious? Means being present, being in the present moment. That's consciousness. Do you know that as throughout the day, 16 hours that we are awake, we are only 5% conscious. Can you believe? 95% we are unconscious. We are doing things because we have repeated it so many times that we just keep doing them without questioning them. And I think the biggest example any NLP or clinical hypnotherapist will give you is the driving, right? When you learn to drive, yes, you are conscious. You know that you are holding the steering. You feel the steering in your hands. You are putting the pedals, you know, the petrol, the gas, and the brake, and you are really conscious because you are fully present, right? That's consciousness. But what happens after you have driven this car for so many years? Are you really present when you're driving? Aren't you putting your music and then daydreaming what I'm going to do? I should have said this, and I have to do this stuff. Who is driving the car right there when you are daydreaming? Your body is, right? Your subconscious mind is driving this car because it knows what to do. Even you will stop in signals when it's red and then continue to drive when it's green. And your body, your consciousness is not there because your body is doing it for you. So that is consciousness. Consciousness in parenting means be present with the child in front of you. Do not bring your own traumas, do not bring your own fears, do not bring your own projections of making the child that you want, because no, that's what you wanted, but this child has its own authenticity. It has its own uniqueness. He or she is unique. She's just waiting to develop in your arms, in your care. So be present with the child in front of you, and that takes a lot of effort because you will have to be also present with the child within you. Yes, so that's conscious parenting in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's easier, like it sounds like it makes sense, but then when you have to apply it, it's so challenging. Yeah. Because you, in the moment when any situation happens, you don't know what to do. And you try to think of all the things you learned and how to, okay, I'm gonna be not like that, I'm gonna speak to them gently, but it doesn't always work. Yeah. So what do you do in those cases?
Yeah, and it's fair enough the question you say, because everything that I said sounds very nice, philosophical, right? And I myself, it took me years to practice being conscious. So when I work with parents that come to me and say, "Luz, I lose it when my son does this," or "I lose it this one," normally is the child that rebels, that challenges our parenting. That's the child. We call in conscious parenting the gifted child. We call that child the rebellious, the quote-unquote naughty child, the not listener, you know, that child is the gifted child because they are the ones challenging you here. So what I do with the parents that I work, I always tell them, okay, let us first psychoanalyze your understanding of life. What was the role model you have? This is what I will literally do with the parents that I work. I will ask them, okay, tell me about your mother. I will ask you, tell me about your mother, characteristics of your mother, personality traits of your mother. How did your mother react when she was angry? Or when she was angry with you? What did she use to call you when you were not behaving? Or what was the labels given to you? Same thing I will ask you about your dad. Who is your dad? Tell me the name of your dad. What are the personality traits of your dad? How did your dad behave around your mother? What was the relationship like between two of them? So all these questions are very relevant when it comes to you as a mother. Why? Because you will copy behaviors that are there already in your subconscious mind. And what did I say about consciousness? That if you are not in the present moment, you will react in the same way that mom reacted with you and dad reacted with you. And the general, rules at home, you will bring them into your life now. And that's not fair for the child because the child is not you. So you see, this is why, and it's different, times are different now. So that's why when I work with parents, I will first analyze or psychoanalyze who are they, what is their belief system. And then with compassion, of course, allow them to reflect. Is this going to work with your child? Are these same circumstances? What do you really want for your child? So this is when we go in you. And then I always give them example of the water. You see this water here? I said, let's practice first consciousness, right? Because as we grow, we tend to not be present more and more. You see, if you look at a child, they are fully present when they are playing. Don't you think so?
Yeah,
When they're
yeah.
2, 3 years old, 4 years old, they are present. Even 8, I would say. I think until 8, 9, they're still present when they play. They play, they enjoy, they're fully in the game. And the little they are, the more little they are, the more present they are. Because their imagination goes wild and they are in the present moment. As they grow, they start to banish that. They start to chip off consciousness. Yes, they are conscious, we are not. So as we grow, I said, okay, how can I be, this is the typical question, how can I be present, Luz? Let's practice something. You see this water? When you are in the day-to-day, I always give them this exercise. Drink the water, or anytime you touch water, try to be present, enjoying the taste. So if I drink the water, enjoy it, savoring. Savoring is an exercise, a somatic exercise of being present. Taste the water, feel the coolness of the water, be present, and maybe even do some mantras of gratitude, right? Oh, thank you, God, I have water to drink, clean water to drink. Or if you are taking shower, be present in the shower. You are taking the shower, feel the water in your body, be present. And the more you do that, the more you are going to practice consciousness. And the more you are going to be aware when you are lashing out at your child, or when you are getting irritated or overwhelmed by any sadness or disappointment in your child, you will not make it about you. You will realize, oh, this is affecting me. And why is this affecting me? Why is it? Oh, I see. It's because when I was a child, my mom used to do this. And now, why is she not doing it? When I was a child, I used to listen to my mom and I was very submissive. Otherwise, she will smack me. And now this girl is challenging me, and talking to me like that. Oh, no way. I'm not going to accept. But that was you. And now you are understanding that your girl maybe her feelings is something that has to do with her. It's nothing to do with you. It's not personal. She might be struggling in something. And so that consciousness, that presence will give you that better reaction to the present moment. But you need to practice. It's a practice. It's a constant practice. That's what consciousness is.
It's, because you're mentioning it's very important how we were raised and how we were talked to. Because in the moments when I'm losing it, I always catch myself either hearing my dad or my mom speaking to my kids. And in any anger moments, you lose it and you realize that it's not you speaking, it's just you were not allowed to do it. So you feel like, okay, if I wasn't allowed to do it, if I'm not allowed to do it, why is anyone allowed to do it? And it applies to a partner, it can apply to kids, it applies to anyone around you. It's like, you judge it because you get angry because you are not allowing yourself to do it. But there is no parents anymore to watch over us and to tell us what to do and what not to do. But it's like default settings that we have in our head that's, okay, no, you shouldn't be doing it, so nobody should be doing it. Why are they doing it? Why are they so free to do anything? So that's the challenge that I think we all face with the way we were raised, and hardly we can say that any of our parents knew how to raise kids. Or even us, we don't know how to raise kids. It's like, oh, once you have the baby, it's all gonna come natural. She's a natural mother, right? There is a saying like this, which makes no sense in my head, because it's nobody is a natural mother. No. Somebody can be caring naturally, maybe more caring than another, but there is no such a thing as natural mother. And some women, when they say, I don't want to have kids, I'm like, don't then. Don't have kids, because then it makes because it just makes sense not to have them, because you know inside that you don't want to have kids. And having a kid is not going to change anything. You're not going to want it more. You're not going to become more motherly or more of anything. It's just going to destroy your personality. And it's just so damaging when you don't want it and you yet do it because society tells us to do it. Yeah. What would you advise people who who don't have kids yet?
I would say first of all, I will already respect them, that they are already thinking should I have a child? Amazing, good on you, because I didn't do that. I thought a little sheep in the herb. I just had the child because of course I have to marry, I have to have a child. But I would say these women or men that are actually questioning, why do I want a child? Amazing, right there, you're being conscious. Because yes, you need to understand why you are having a child. I had a radio interview in Dubai, and the slogan was, parenting is a selfish act. And they bombard us. Oh my God, you should have seen the listeners, like, who is saying that parenting is selfish? She must not have children, that's why she's saying that. But I had 3, so I know what parenting is. It is a selfish act. Indeed, it's not selfless. It is not. Let's not make it selfless, because it's selfish because we have children for us. Yes, we decide to have the children because we want to experience the parenting, right? To have a child, and at times we even have an illusion of what the parenting will look like. That's even worse. But so I would say to these young people, fantastic, ask that question. Do I have that emotional maturity to have a child? Because as I'm telling you, psychologically, children need tolerance, patience, time, money, logistics of driving, resources. I mean, these are all the things that they need, So are you really having all this, resources? Especially the most important, I would say, is the emotional maturity. That's the most important. That takes you to work on yourself. Again, to work on your own generational traumas, your coping mechanisms, everything on you. Because if you now then decide, yes, I got this. I know that parenting the first 3 years, I'm not going to be able to be so sociable because the child needs time. The child language is love and connection. So fair enough, yes, I'm going to have a child because I really want to raise a child from a place of connection, time, and everything that it involves. Then by all means have a child. But if you are struggling and you're in a relationship, or you are a woman that is alone and doesn't have a husband, and you just want to marry anybody to have a child because you are running out of time, I would say please reconsider. Reconsider and speak to women that hopefully are honest with you and tell you what parenting really looks like. Because and I know, being mothers, my goodness me, like, wow. Like, I learned so much from my kids. I learned so much. They took me to the hell and heaven at the same time. More hell, I would say, but few minutes. Let's not romanticize parenting, please, because it's not easy. No. It's not easy. And maybe for some women it is. I mean, my hat's on you. Maybe some women have an amazing childhood experience and they have a secure attachment and they're very zen and calm. But certainly for most of us, it's not the case. Yeah
it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's funny that, like, whenever you get to talk about it in public, right, that it's not easy, you need to really think about it. And they would ask you, but so why do you have kids? Well, that's why I'm telling you, because I had kids. That's why exactly I have the experience. So that's why I'm telling you, think about it, because it's not easy, and it really takes the best and the worst out of you, which is, we have kids because we want to have kids, and we then demand them to do something for us because we raised them and they owe us. But in reality of things, it's just all us. Like, we created them, and then we raised them the way we raised them, and it's just life happened. So I find it very challenging. It's very challenging, and I find it challenging to talk about it to people who don't have kids, because some of them, they romanticize it and like, oh, but look at you, at least you have kids, like, you're happy and you have kids.
Like, it is a sign of happiness that, like, now you have a child.
Now you have a child, but now you have a child. But the challenge that comes with having the child, and then every single day you're challenged to everything gets triggered. You didn't even know it exists, right? Like, the triggers that they bring out in us, I didn't even know that they exist. I didn't know I had those issues till I had a child, and I realized that they're pointing out those issues in me. And we're talking about, like, toddlers. And then now I have a 9-year-old, which is even more difficult because they are so much smarter now. They're so conscious. They know their stuff. So it is quite challenging. It is quite challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Apple phone, I mean, the smartphones have taken parenting and steroids, because now we have schools giving them a device that is opening the eyes to the world, and they are exposed to so many things that you and me maybe were not. And because they are exposed to all those different things, and then we are saying, why are you so much in the iPad? But hello, school is giving me this addictive device that is giving me the high dopamine. And of course I'm going to get addicted because there is so much going on in it. It's so amusing and it's so, easy to be used and distracting. And you are complaining that I'm in that device. But that's what gives me, that takes away my boredom, because most of the time maybe you are not there with me and you have to work and you have to do other things. And by the way, I'm not trying to say that parents are bad, that the parents who have children are bad and evil or they're unconscious. I am one of them. I'm saying in all fairness, I did not plan my children. It's not that I plan it and I say, I want to bring humans that I'm going to raise with consciousness. No, I did it because culturally in South America, for us Latinos, and I guess for Arabs are the same as well, is that we want to have kids already by the age of 25. 25, 26, clock is ticking. My mom used to call me and like, when are you going to marry? Oh, I want a grandchild. Like, we had this pressure, social pressure. Or when you get married, what's the first question they ask when you are in a gathering? Are you married? Yes. Oh, do you have children? Second question, immediately, right? Immediately. And then when you say, yeah, I have one. Oh, are you planning another one? Are you only going to have one? And so it's so much pressure. So by all means, I don't think parents who had children are, extremely selfish or anything like that. But all I'm saying for the people who still don't have it, consider it and understand that parenting is a sacred task. And it demands a lot of time, effort, patience, tolerance. It demands you taking care of your inner body, inner world, because it's there that you are feeding your children everything, what you are having inside. So that's my understanding of conscious parenting.
I was wondering, so I know that it's different, like what we apply to our kids is different, like what we apply to our clients, right? We kind of guide them in a different way, but what do you personally do? What is your coping mechanism when you're triggered?
That's a good question.
How do you cope, and what are the steps that you do or you follow in your subconsciously? You follow the steps that when you're triggered in a situation with your kids and you know that you're absolutely losing it.
So this is a very interesting question, because this is the thing that I learned from all the people that I study with. They will all coincide in one thing. They will all say one thing that is so crucial. Before you even consider dealing with the emotions of others, you need to deal with yourself. What does that mean? You need to do self-care. You have to love yourself. You have to eat nicely, sleep your hours, take care of the things you like. Be happy, be a joyful, truly joyful, authentic human being. So for me, I learned that if I don't, it will show in my mood. If I don't do my rituals, meaning the things I love, I call them rituals, and I learned that again from my mentors. But if I don't do my exercise, my gym routine, or my yoga, or my meditation, I know eventually I'm gonna burn out. That's when I get triggered. That's when I lose it. Because I study all the theory, right? And I try to practice to the best. But I'm also human and I will lose it sometimes. But coincidentally, it only happens that when I will get triggered is because I'm not taking care of myself. I am not doing my homework. I'm not taking care of me, what makes me happy. Because yes, I have 3 kids and I want to give them everything. No doubt. If they ask me an arm, I'll cut it and I'll give it to them. But if I don't also at the same time take care of myself and the things that I love, my self-care, my routine of, me, I'm not going to be able to provide this to them, and I will resent them. Unconsciously or subconsciously, I'm going to resent, because I'm like, oh, I'm doing this all for you, and you still do that. You see? We make them responsible for us not taking care of ourselves. So maybe the other question that also pops up now in my head is, but then how do you juggle with parenting, and you're telling the children needs a lot of connection and love, but at the same time you are telling me you need to take care of yourself? Because that's the thing about conscious parenting. We understand that parenting is not about quantity, it's about quality. So you don't have to be 24/7 with your kids, but you can give them quality time, and you also give your time. You do not negotiate on your own self-care. You have it for you, and you have quality time with them, which means no telephone, fully present with them, and having conscious dates with your children, conscious time that you want to spend with them. So that would be my, understanding how I can manage my own trigger, right? The more I take care of myself, less burnout I will be. So that's how I manage my triggers with my children.
It's good that you mentioned that. It's good that you mentioned that you don't have to do it all at the same time, and it's about quality rather than quantity. Yeah. Because I started panicking in my head. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to take care of myself, and I can relate to that. Yeah. Whenever I don't take care of myself, I'm really angry. Yeah. But I'm more angry at myself because it's a guilt. Yeah. It's guilt, it's tiredness, and then you feel even more guilty because I didn't even do anything for myself. And I'm not even doing anything with my kids, so that I get like triple guilty, for whatever is happening. So it's good to know that it's more of a quality time rather than quantity, because you can spend the whole day taking care of the kids, but you realize that you didn't do anything with the kids. You were just like feeding them, bathing them, taking care of them, taking care of the house, and then at the end you realize, oh, I didn't even connect with my kid. I didn't ask them how do they feel, what do they feel, or we didn't spend any nice time together. It was just bad time together, chores and just bad time together.
Totally. And you said some words that I want to, emphasize. You said guilt, right? This is the typical poison of a mother or a father. That guilt, it's guilt thing that we doing something for us and yet we are feeling guilty. Oh no, I should be with my son. Oh, I should be. Excuse me, that very thing you are doing for you is an investment in your happiness that you're going to give to your child a much more quality love and presence because you're going to be happy. So I give you a metaphor that I love to use from Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you have an orange and you cut it and you squeeze, what comes out?
Juice.
What kind of juice? Orange. Orange juice.
Orange juice.
Exactly, yeah. Right? Orange juice. It cannot give you apple juice. Can it give you apple juice? No. Can it give you banana juice? No, right? It only gives you the orange juice because that's what's inside. It's the same thing for us parents. What you have inside of you for yourself is what you can give to your children. The question is, what do you have inside of you? Do you have tolerance, patience, self-care, self-love? Are you respecting you? If you have all these things, that's what you're going to give to your children from you. But if you have resentment, lack of self-esteem, insecurities, generational traumas, wherever, all these things that most of us have it at some point, I guess, that's what you're feeding your children with. Same thing like the orange. So you see how important is your self-care and how important is that you are conscious of this constant awareness of what's happening inside of me. Why am I grumpy today? I see, yeah, I didn't do this for me last time and now I'm not feeling well. That's what it is. That's consciousness. So that guilt, my mentor, Dr. Gabor Mate, would say, celebrate guilt. If you are, doing something for you, celebrate it. Says, yes, I'm doing this for me. I'm guilty, so what? And I'm enjoying it. Because it's not about you being with your child and being miserable. Yes? It's you being with your child from a place of joy, of tolerance, of happiness. That's the quality you want to give the child when you are squeezing you. Yes, so that's a nice metaphor.
I think that's so important for so many parents to hear, especially new parents, because they feel like they need to do it. Social media portrays the picture of, perfect parenting, perfect social media pages where they do it all and they can't handle it all. And we look at it and there are lots of moms and dads that are like, oh, but I'm not there. I'm not there and I'm never going to be there. You realize it. And it's good to hear that, I think it's going to be very helpful for so many people that, yes, we have to take care of ourselves and we don't have to feel guilty about it, because you're going to be much better when you come back to your child. Mm-hmm. You will exercise, you will come back much more healthier mom, much more like energized. It's so much better. So everything we do for ourselves, if we take it as, you know, like selfless parenting, which doesn't exist, but if we take it like this, then everything we do for ourselves, it's to be this selfless parent for the kid, because they need us and they don't have anybody else and they're not going to learn from anywhere else.
No. Like I said, conscious parenting is not putting the lens on the child of what he or she is doing. Is what are we doing? What are we doing as parents to embrace ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to educate ourselves, to regulate our emotions around the children, us, the parents. So that's the whole idea of conscious parenting. Yeah.
What would be 3 key takeaways for parents? If you could sum it up, I know that it's a lot, but if you could sum it up into 3 things that you would advise to parents.
So I would say the first one, take care of yourself. You are the fountain of love, compassion that your children are drinking. You are the one. So for the parents, take care of yourself. Practice consciousness. Do things that practice consciousness, being in the present moment, meaning could be yoga, meditation, trekking, anything that takes you to be fully present, or even savoring. Yes? And last but not least, it's okay to fail. It's okay, you know. I failed miserably with my eldest son, Mohammed, as I was telling you before the video, no? And poor thing, you know, and I repair. It's never too late to repair. I repair with him. We sat down and I said, I'm really sorry. I apologize to him for all my mistakes when I was a newly mom, and I, you know, messed up and I did so many things wrong on him. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm now repairing and I'm learning, and I want you to give me the opportunity to reconnect with you from another place. That is not about me, it's about, you know, you know, how I can be at your service. So, and we are best friends now. I mean, I allow him to be him and he allowed me to be me. So that will be, you know, it's never too late. It's okay to fail, and it's never late to repair and to learn. So these 3 things will be my giveaways for parents.
For repair, I want to talk a bit more about that. Do you think, like, there would be people who have like adult kids, right? And they would, did you ever have that they come to you and they want to fix their relationship with the kids?
Yes, a lot of parents that come and ask me to help them, you know, to repair the relationship, and it is possible. And of course, to a certain extent, certain children need counselors. Like my son, he went to his own coach. He has his therapist, and he will not be able to tell me things that he will tell to his therapist. So I would say yes, repairing is possible, and my son has freedom to choose who his therapist will be, because I'm the perpetrator of his traumas. Yeah. So I cannot help him, even though I'm a therapist and I study psychology and I help hundreds of people. I cannot psychoanalyze my child because I'm the perpetrator of his, insecurities. So by all means, that is possible with the child and with the parent, of course. Here I am talking to you about conscious parenting, and my other 2 children are enjoying that process of me learning. So it's possible, absolutely, yes.
Is there any time restriction, or it's possible at any age and any time?
You mean the
for the parents to repair with their kids?
Oh no, this is possible
any age.
Yeah, anytime. I mean, I would say anytime. But I want to tell you something on that note, that people perceive personal growth as an outcome. Not because I am a conscious parenting coach, I'm the perfect parent. No, I will screw up sometimes still. Learning and growing as a human, you know this as a therapist, is endless. It's always happening as more and more. You will get better at certain things, but still you will always learn. So it really never ends, if that makes sense. It's not a destination, personal growth. It's endless. I mean, I'm sure Deepak Chopra, Dalai Lama is still meditating and learning. If they are still doing that, I mean, then, we are in minus level or something, So I would say it's always growing. It's always a learning opportunity, yeah.
Because I hear a lot from people that, oh, it's already too late to fix our relationship with my kids, and it's quite often that it comes up, or it's too late to fix my relationship with my parents, too late to fix anything. And just good to know it's not it's not too
No,
late. It's always like there is a hope, and you still can fix relationship with your kids no matter how old you are.
Yeah, I guess is maybe also what you say. It's interesting. Yeah, so if certain adult people say no, it's too late to heal my relationship with my mother. But here is the thing: when you are healing a relationship between mother and a father, and let's say the parent is maybe old, senior, and they don't even want to go through therapy, you still can heal you. And then when you heal you as a child, you will see your parent with more compassion, not from a place of hate or resentment. Your personal growth would be to learn to see the parent with more compassion, so that you don't hold this poison of grudge and resentment towards your parents, because you will understand, being conscious, that they couldn't have done it any other way, because they didn't have the wisdom, they did not have the education to be a conscious parent. But if you are the son and you are trying to learn and to grow within you and choose, it's a choice, choose to develop yourself to see your parent with more compassion, you are already repairing in there. You are seeing that other human that maybe will never change, but you will see it from a place of compassion. And that will give you peace. There already you are repairing. You are repairing you. You might not change the other person. You can't. No. We cannot change other people. You are only going to be you. It's going to only happen within you. So the repairing is within you still, even if the other person. At times I have many clients whose parents were horrible, very horrible, and they're dead. They can't do anything anymore. But I always tell them, but you can repair within you. You can heal those wounds. You can speak about your truth and learn and let it all out, rather than suppressing it in you and keeping that grudge and that poison that is only poison in your soul. And it's not going to let you see the world as the place it is, which is beautiful.
Something that came up to my mind. If you would say, I know it's probably wrong to say this way, but if you would say that somebody who is responsible in this, would you say that the parents are responsible to make sure that their relationship is good with kids, or kids are responsible?
No, it's always, if the kids are small, it's parents. Please, let's understand biology now. See, the brain of the child logically doesn't develop the left side, left hemisphere of the brain, and the logical, analytical, and reasoning part of the brain only develops until mid-20s. Can you believe? Mid-20s. So who's the responsibility now in terms of co-creating a nice relationship? There is your answer. If they are small, even until the age of 18, I mean, we mammalians, especially humans, the Homo sapiens, we develop our psychic. 18 is still a child, is still immature, if we consider that. I mean, he's adult, quote unquote, but logically still developing. So we are more emotional. So a child and a parent dynamic, who is going to be responsible to co-regulate the relation is the parent, because we are mature enough, quote unquote. If you have done the work, you'll be mature enough to do that relationship. Yet I have parents who are 40 or 35 acting like children, and they're tantruming in the same way like the child. And then they're saying, why are you not listening to me, And then they will spank them and use violence as a method of discipline. But my goodness me, the child is a child. His brain doesn't have the capacity to logic. So you are the person, the adult. But what has happened in these parents that are 35, they never raised the child within. They never did the work, the inner child work. So that's why they tantrum. Because they didn't do the work. So there is two children fighting on this dynamic. You see? Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
It answered, and I think it's important in certain cultures, right? We have it on parents reaching the age and they just keep blaming kids all the time, and the child grows into adults who believe that they are to blame. So that's the dynamic. Just wanted to clear it out. I know that there are so many people that are like from so many different cultural perspective, religious perspective. It's always been blamed on kids.
So no, that's culture. That I would say it's culture, social beliefs.
It's so many beliefs that it's like
and it's worth
kids.
examining now that we are growing into a more highs, I hope we are growing as humanity. It's worth examining your social rules.
Yeah.
It's worth examining the kind of love you are giving to your children and what you are demanding in exchange. Because this is a good thing that you say. Love, if it's not given consciously, meaning unconditional, because the love of a parent to a child, since we are talking about parenting, we're not talking about relationships between partners, I'm talking about purely parents, is unconditional. It's not transactional. You do not love your children because ideally, you do not love your children because they are good in grades, they give you amazing grades, or they're athletic, or they are the submissive children. You brought these kids into this world and you want to love them unconditionally. It's not a transaction. Yes, that's conscious love. And when you love consciously also, it's not abusive. It's not verbally abusive. It's not physically abusive. Because at times in South America, our linear style of parenting, which I hope is changing, it was they will spank you. Yes, let's say you went out in the evening, like me. I used to play volleyball, and at times I will come late, just playing volleyball, like really, literally outside in the, in the park. And then if I come late, my mom will wake me with a whip, and she will whip me and said, I love you, and I don't want nothing to happen to you, and I'm whipping you because I want you to follow my rules, right? But at that very moment, I am not receiving love. I am only receiving fear. That's what I'm receiving. Think about it. That child that I was once, I'm not receiving love like this. I mean, if you love me, you will sit me down and say, look, Luz, I was so scared of you and I worry because I love you. Please, can you not do this again? Because I'm really worried. Will you like me to remind you 30 minutes before so that you know you have to come? I'll do that for you. Amazing. I would have okay, Mom, I'm sorry. I would even say, I'm sorry, Mommy, But whipping me and using violence as a method of discipline, which is very common in South America. They will even allow teachers to, with the ruler. Like, what is that, So that's not love, that's fear. That's fear-based discipline. Conscious parenting says, no, let's do connection-based. It's long-lasting. It's long-lasting and it's voluntary. It's voluntary. Children will volunteer to follow you. Like if we talk about religion, the prophets of religions, they had disciples, right? And the disciples will follow the prophet, yes? Because they were amazing people, they were role models, they were leaders, and they will follow voluntarily. Nobody forced them to follow them, right? So that's discipline. Discipline comes from this, from disciples. So discipline is not harsh, it's not verbally abusive, it's not physically abusive. That's not discipline. That's fear-based discipline. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yeah. And so much information and so much new
I can
information.
I can talk forever, but because it's a topic that I am very passionate about, and I'm a mother of 3 boys, so that's why I had to learn these things.
Yeah, because we haven't been raised in this way, and for generations it was okay to do everything you're saying.
And I wasn't
even now, it's okay.
And I wasn't like this. So my first son will tell you, oh my God, my mom is sitting there talking this when she used to spank me. Yeah, and I did, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I was such a primitive parent. My first son, because that's how I was raised. You see the generational trauma here. I was spanked. I remember my mom, having his poncho and having the stick underneath every time I will bring my grades, because I know that in math I'm going to have red mark, and I already knew what's going to happen to me. So it was very sad, and unfortunately when I had my first son, spontaneously I remember a couple of times, spanking my son for not doing multiplication. Horrible. I'm ashamed. I mean, I'm embarrassed to admit, but I did it. So that's why I'm saying you don't have to be me. Be better than me, be better than me with my first son. Thank God that I educated myself with conscious parenting, because I can tell you now, my kids have amazing, school experience, and I don't have to abuse them. They are doing it amazingly, voluntarily. So that's why I'm saying I invite you to learn about conscious parenting, because it's a more long-lasting parenting style than the traditional one. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was so insightful, and it was
My
pleasure.
Thank you so
It's
much.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
You for
you.
having me here. Thank you. Thank you.